Why on earth would an organization want to build their own software? This is why. Bespoke software is a strange beast. In financial terms, it seems to have a really high cost of ownership. So why do organizations choose to build their own software when there are other options? The tools don't exist. A lot of the time when organizations look out into the marketplace, they can't actually find something that exactly matches what they want. This leads us to a set of choices. Do we go off and find an off-the-shelf product that does part of what we do but not all of it, and then try to cobble together a process that doesn't really fit our needs? Or do we hire an integrator or customization expert to get closer to what we really need? This is actually a business model that a fair few software vendors use. They make money on software that they sell, for sure, but the vendor makes a lot more money on specific customizations that they make for organizations over and over. If you're customizing an off-the-shelf package, then you'll very often have to pay a cost to keep your customizations up to date when you upgrade the software. Cha-ching! Manual processes are more expensive than they look. Manual processes present an opportunity cost. Teams that spend time on filling paperwork, phoning each other to communicate, writing emails, negotiating, and getting confused by each other. Time-consuming and repeated work are a waste, and when traded off against spending tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a solution, actually doesn't look as bad as you might think. What I do saves organizations time, effort, and costly mistakes. Does your organization have a manual process that wastes time, effort, and causes mistakes? They already understand what they want. A good way of knowing if you already have a process that deserves the bespoke treatment is that your employees are already trying to build solutions themselves using things like spreadsheets. Excel has been the basis for a lot of prototype applications which prove their merit but present a set of limitations that the users have to ultimately face. These tend to involve scale and distribution. One thing that's really hard to manage with Excel spreadsheets is changes to the process. If your organization already has a custom workflow built in Excel, it's probably working better than your paper process used to, but I believe that you can do better. It's not exactly the wrong thing to do. When you're going from having no process and just trying to instead get work done to understand your problems and starting to build a system of some kind, you want the ability to adjust that process while you're still learning. It's an evolution. So what does life actually look like on a bespoke software team? Team structures vary. Very often there's someone in addition to the software developers who determines the requirements of the system. In some organizations, this is a manager, but in a lot of cases, there's a specific requirements analysis role that speaks to end users and subject matter experts in the organization to try and understand the biggest problems that need solving. Very often nowadays, the business designates a specific subject matter expert, the product owner, and gives them the budget and authority to make choices about the priority of work on the bespoke software. Estimation has always been a problem in software development, and because of the complexity of the processes involved and on the environments that the software runs in, the requirements are not always clear to begin with. The strategy that a lot of software development teams are now using is called Agile software development. There are a lot of principles and processes and methodologies associated with it, but it basically boils down to working with the end users on working software, getting feedback and adapting to emerging requirements. Nowadays, it's very common to build software in iterations. You get the first and most important features out to your end users first, and then you work down the list until you're through your budget and have something good enough. In very many cases, this is not a perfect solution, but is considerably better than what you started with. So what are some advantages of bespoke software that you might not have considered? Accounting benefits. In a lot of places, the cost of building software can be capitalized. This means that you can claim depreciation. Where I'm from, there's also a second option where you can claim a tax credit for research and development. Here, you have to decide on either one or the other, but not both. Your accountant will know the specifics for where you operate. Once you have an application you use in-house to support your own business practices, this will give you an unfair advantage. You can either use this advantage to compete or productize it and charge your competitors a license fee for using your software, thereby turning them into customers. Agility. The cost of setting up bespoke software can be high, but once in place, you're uniquely positioned to make changes and adapt. Was this helpful? Let me know in the comments.